Hey guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today we're going to talk about choosing substrate. As I've mentioned in several recent videos, I want to redo my 75-gallon retirement community. Now, if you remember correctly, this is an aquarium that's pretty haphazard and just houses a whole range of fish, relatively small, from all over the world. And it's been running for over 10 years now. And in that time, it has had the same substrate, which is Soil Master Select, which is a fired clay substrate. And it's done pretty well, but the tank is really dark. It really hasn't had anything done to it for many, many years. So I thought we'd today talk about some of the choices we make when choosing substrates. Now, there are a ton of different substrates on the market, and there's a wide range of things that are appropriate, from commercially produced aquarium substrates to things that you can buy at your local hardware store, garden center, etc. So today we're going to look at a few of my favorites and talk about sort of how you choose the right substrate for your aquarium. Now, the first thing to take into consideration is how you're going to be setting up your aquarium. Is it going to be planted or not? What sorts of fish are going to be in there? And just the overall aesthetic you're going for. In recent months, I've been using a lot of aquarium-specific substrates, most specifically the Tropica planted substrate, and that's because it's an enriched soil that softens and neutralizes the water and provides great structure for plant roots to grow as well as feeding the plants. It's kind of a one-stop plug-and-play planted substrate, which is very, very good for the vast majority of the fish that I keep. Now, there are a few exceptions, things like my African dwarf cichlids. Those are fish that come from water that is substantially harder than what I have at home. So for those aquariums, I have chosen to use a substrate that has crushed coral and buffering capacity, and that helps harden my water a little bit. Now, when you're using a substrate that does alter chemistry, it's important to take this into consideration when doing your water changes, because you don't want to have big shifts in your aquarium of the parameter. So a lot of times, smaller, more frequent water changes are better in these aquariums than larger volume. Now, in other aquariums, like I've shown you recently in my 55-gallon planted, I'm utilizing an inert substrate. The one in that aquarium is called anthracite, and it's made by Sarah. And I chose that specifically because it's extremely smooth, it was easy to plant in, it's inert, and it would be great for the catfish I plan to add into this aquarium. Some species of catfish bury their faces into the substrate, so it's important to have something that's soft for them, or at least won't be damaging. There's also substrates on the market like Carob Sea Supernaturals, like I used in my 150-gallon aquarium, that I particularly like because they're small, smooth, and very attractive and natural looking. Now, for instance, in the Hillstream Aquarium, when I chose that substrate, I chose it based on the breeding strategies of a lot of the gobies in there, because they require a very specific size and shape of substrate in order to make their nests for spawning. So in that case, I chose the Carob Sea Supernaturals of the appropriate size to match the needs of the fish. Now, in the retirement community, things are a little bit different. I don't have many bottom dwellers in that aquarium other than albino ancestris or bristlenose plecos, and they tend to spend more time on the decor than the substrate, except during feeding. So I asked you guys what you would like to see, and it seems like the vast majority of you would really like to see me work with sand. For sand, there's a lot of options. Again, there are commercially produced sands that are available on the market, made by a whole range of companies. I have some black sand that's actually made for swimming pools. That's called color quartz. It comes in multiple grains. Grain size is sort of the size of the actual individual piece of sand. The what I have is grade S, which is very, very fine, which means it can be a bit challenging to vacuum, but they do make heavier grades as well. And then I also picked up some play sand. Now, play sand is the most inexpensive choice when you're choosing a sand for your aquarium. It's $5 for about a 40 to 50 pound bag, and it's super, super cheap. Now, it can be a bit dirty, so rinsing is required. With a lot of the aquarium specific substrates, you don't always have to rinse. I'm considering using this sand just because it's something I haven't really worked with before. And I'm curious to see how it looks. Sand can be really appropriate for planted tanks in that it's got a it's very easy for plants to root in it. But again, it's completely inert, so you would need to add some sort of fertilizing supplementation for heavy root feeding plants like I have in the 75 in that big lace plant. So I'll probably go with root tabs at the base of that particular plant. Although I have a few ideas for a few different things I may want to show you, incorporating various substrates within the same aquarium. I'd really like to know in the comments down below if you would like to see that or if you just want me to do a plain sand aquarium. Anyway, at the end of the day, what it boils down to is, what do you like? For me, I've always really gravitated towards the natural gravels or the soils, but I kind of want a new challenge, and I think the retirement community is the right aquarium to try sand in. So over the next few days, I'm going to get the wood soaking for the rescape, and we'll start to remove the substrate and decor from that aquarium in order to give it its rescape. Let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite cheap substrate? What is your favorite commercially produced substrate? And what do you think I should do with this aquarium? As always, your opinion really matters to me. Please make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell on so you don't miss any of these updates or my upcoming videos.